I hope you're all familiar with the Music Man, because we've got trouble right here in Rivertown with a capital T, and it rhymes with P, and it stands for people. Right here in Petaluma, I see a crisis of people trying to take care of elderly people everywhere I go. Let me tell you what I see as a geriatric care manager sitting in my car. I see you, and you helping your mom out of the car, going into Safeway, taking so much longer than you ever thought it could take. Going up and down the aisles for the perfect jar of mayonnaise. I see you when I go into the doctor's offices and you're there trying to be an advocate for your parent. Guess what? Your mom is fighting back while you're trying to advocate, and the doctor's not even listening to what you're saying. And then what about the durable medical equipment? Trying to get that walker into the back of the car, and the groceries, and the medications, and worrying about your elderly loved one, and the wheelchairs. We have got a crisis and an epidemic right now, but ladies and gentlemen, I am here to try and solve some of that problem. But I will need a friendly volunteer from the audience to come up and do a little skit with me. Do I have a brave soul who does not mind being videotaped? Yes, come right up. Thank you. Let me set the scene. This volunteer is going to agree to be my child, my adult daughter, and my caregiver, and I am going to be her 85-year-old mother. What is your name?
I'm Barbara Sislowitz.
Barbara, thank you for agreeing to do this little skit with me. It's not going to be hard. Hello, dear. Would you do me a favor and go and pick up that bag of groceries and start walking towards me, and I'm going to meet you in the middle. I forgot to say, my lovely daughter has just done grocery shopping for me, and this is the inside hallway of my home. You wait right there, dear. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, hon. Did you get my groceries?
I did.
Good. Listen, I need you to do this load of laundry for me.
Oh, okay.
Will you take this downstairs?
Sure.
Now, I have the quarters. That's there.
Okay.
But don't use the machine on the right side, because that always leaves a lot of soap in my clothing.
Okay.
But, I don't have the soap. Oh, God.
Here,
Hang on just a minute.
There might be some in here.
Let me get the soap. Hang on just a minute.
You want me to get it, Mom?
Hello? Hey, how are you? Good? Good? I think, on Friday, I think my daughter could drive me to that. Sure. Yeah, that's no problem. Oh, that's sweet of you to call. Yeah. No, she can put that on her calendar and we can be there at 6. That's lovely of you to call. Okay. All righty now. All right, bye-bye. Listen, honey, I don't know where the soap is. Just take this whole thing down, will you, and just take it to the laundromat there.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, got it.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Okay.
You're so good. Okay.
Thank you.
End scene. Place those right here. Will you hang up here for a minute?
Sure.
I'd like to process what you've just seen. I'd like you to turn to a partner And I'd like you to take a minute or two to talk about what you noticed about my dear daughter Barbara up here, and maybe what she might have been feeling. And I want you to be honest about what you just witnessed. 2 minutes, go. And I'd like to know, how did you think it went?
Me, I felt like I'm trying to be patient and my mother's not listening, and I'm speaking to her and she can't hear me, and she's speaking to me and I don't want to hear her, and I already have plans for Friday, and when is her calendar my calendar, kind of.
So that was kind of presumptuous of me, wasn't it,
kind
to
of
book
exactly
you?
right, though. Yeah, exactly
Thank you.
right on.
Are you doing caregiving?
I am.
So Barbara, what were you thinking as you held, and you have to know, I have put in a 25-pound dictionary in this grocery bag.
Which is about how heavy it feels sometimes being a caregiver, the 25-pound dictionary and the oatmeal and the heavy pineapple.
You're welcome. I wanted something sharp.
It's so confusing because it's not just a stranger, it's my mom. So I want to have respect for my mom, but it's not me and my life and what's happening over here. There's kind of an assumption sometimes that I'm going to be there and doing whatever she needs me to do, and it's frustrating to not want to be there and then feel guilty because I don't want to be there, and then I'm angry, and then I'm a bad daughter because I'm angry, and
just what
on and
Helene
on.
was saying. Can any of you relate to this at all in this room, right? Well, I have to ask you, at any point did you think about putting the grocery bag down?
there was nowhere to, she didn't have a hallway table. So I'll have to get one. Because if it's going to happen, I got to do it, right?
I want to have you raise your hand if you were kind of so concerned about what she was going through and the load she was doing. It was kind of hard to even follow what was going on with me, right? This is a caring group, and you're seeing her struggle. And I intentionally wanted you to see what I think other people see in you. You're doing too much. You are not putting the bag of groceries down, to use that metaphor. And I want to teach you how to do that. And I was hoping actually she didn't put them down, but I knew it was a 50-50 shot.
We did not discuss this beforehand.
And the other thing I want to point out is, was I in tune with what her needs were at all in this scenario? And that's the rub. I work with older adults for the past 30 years, and what I've noticed is that at some point, I find many of them thinking about their own health issues, their own pain, their own medication issues, and then you add memory loss and confusion on top of it, and it's very hard for them to be the mom or the dad or the husband or the wife or whomever that they used to be, to say, oh my gosh, babe, here, put those down. Oh my gosh, let me check my daughter's calendar before I commit to anything. And that's why you have to be ever vigilant to take care of yourself. So a big round of applause. I'm going to give Barbara a copy of my brand new book. With my compliments. Thank you so much. You're welcome. So the metaphor is that if I had asked you to hold the bag of groceries for a moment, you're my pal, sure, your daughter, you're going to say, sure, that's no problem. But what if I asked you to hold that bag of groceries for a year? Anybody in this room been caregiving for a year? Anybody been caregiving in this room for 5 years? 10 years? I mean, this is incredible. Hands are still up. If I did this to you and said, you're in it for 10 years, all of you would say, no. Thank you so much, I'm not signing up for that. But because it's insidious and it's little by little that the person loses some of their abilities, and the more they begin to depend on you, we get this scenario where this poor woman is standing there with a 25-pound dictionary of grocery bag. And the truth is, I wrote this book, Tips for Helping Your Aging Parents Without Losing Your Mind, because I'm worried about you. I'm worried about your health and about your well-being. The sad truth is that your parent, at least my dad, was sort of home in la-la land while I waited on him hand and foot. I ran all the errands, I made the appointments. He wasn't stressed, but I was. So guess what stress is? It comes from the adrenal glands. If it's a good thing and we just have a little bit to keep us going, that's great. But when there is too much stress and that cortisol builds up, we get weight gain is one of the things. And it goes right here in the middle. I gained 17 pounds looking after my dear dad. But it also interferes with your memory and your learning. Cortisol lowers your bone density, which means if you fall, you might break a bone more easily. It lowers your immunity to stress and disease. It increases your blood pressure. It increases your risk of heart disease, increases your risk for depression, and it even lowers your life expectancy. And sadly, in the last 30 years, I have had my caregivers, like my adult sons and daughters, pass away before the elderly parent that they were killing themselves to look after. I don't want that to happen to you. So, how do you take care of yourself? How do you start doing less? How do you put down the groceries? 3 things that you're paying a price for. In addition to your cortisol levels and your stress, you're also paying a financial price when you look after a loved one. And you guys aren't sitting at home calculating it, but MetLife did that for us. And if you're taking care of somebody over 50, the estimate right now is that you're spending $5,071 out of your pocket per year in incidentals for mom and dad. Some of you are nodding because you know you're paying a heck of a lot more than that. And frankly, I'd rather that go into my bank account, but it wasn't. It was going out for somebody else that I loved and cared about, and it seemed like it was fine at the time. But if you figure $5 grand a year, and some of you are doing it 10 years, it's a boatload of money. Also, MetLife, 2011, did a study on working caregivers and found out that when we don't go to work because we're busy looking out after someone, we're not earning wages. We're not putting anything towards Social Security from those wages. We're not putting any money into our pension. So for women, the hit was $322,000 in a lifetime that you guys don't get. $322,000 for doing your nice daughterly things. The other thing is your family doesn't get you guys as much. My daughter would say, "Can we go to dinner?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I got to do such and such with Dad." "Hey, Mom, I've got this thing's coming up at school." "Oh, babe, I wish I could be there, but I can't." And I'm the expert, but Dad somehow came first, right? So I had to learn to say to my dad, "I love you. I'm not going to be able to be there. I got to go to my kid's event." The book has a lot of tips for taking care of yourself. I want to cover a couple today. One is you can actually go to your calendar, whether it's on your phone or a real paper calendar, and mark an X on a random night. Tuesday night, I don't care, from 7 to 9. And believe it or not, when your friend calls you up or your parent calls you up and says, "Hey, I need you over here to drive me to an event," you look down and you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy." You're busy with yourself, but you're busy. And it's very effective. And you can blank out every night of the week. I don't care. Keep your tasks manageable. So my dad would call me each day for one grocery item. I don't know what that's about. No, I do know what that's about, and the book touches on it. But honestly, he needed shampoo, and then he needed Q-tips, and then he needed me to do this. Oh, for God's sakes, I don't want to go to Safeway every single day of the week. I love you, but seriously. Dad, I love you. Mark it down on a piece of paper, and I will come and get that piece of paper every Wednesday, and I will go grocery shopping. Guess what? He started marking everything down, and when he'd call on a Thursday, I'd be like, "Oh, no, too late. Sorry. Ship sailed. Got to wait till next Wednesday." Because honestly, when we set healthy limits with our parents, they figure out how to get someone else to do it, or they learn how to wait for what they need, or they can use one of these resource tables and use a home care company and find someone they can pay to do it. Their heads will not fall off, trust me. You just have to take care of yourself and set manageable expectations for them and take care of yourself. Thank you very much. Take good care of yourselves.